Okay, you are right on time for Kutv News at 9 this Tuesday, the 12th of September 2023. And if it is Tuesday, you know, it is State of the Nation. Tonight, we talk about the role of youth in legislation, and that will be coming to you later on. I'll be speaking to nominated lawmakers, that is Hezena Lemaletian and, of course, Irene Mayaka. You don't want to miss that discussion. But you know the drill. First of all, we start with the highlights. Political parties dispute tribunal to the rescue. Expelled ODM lawmakers including Tom Ojenda, Felix Odiwuor and Elisha Odhiambo secure orders annulling ODM expulsions. CS Kindiki meets DCI boss Mohamed Amin over delays in processing of certificates of good conduct. Kiambu land grabbers to be met with a strong arm of the government as rice grows roots in the county. Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nahumicha confesses that there are challenges in her docket as doctors strike to call for reforms. Well, we have those stories and many more to come in the next 1 hour. My name is Dennis Omondi. You can find me on Twitter at Newsman Dennis. You can find KUTV Kenya across all platforms by looking for KUTV Kenya. My sign language interpreter tonight, is Sheila Kinyaga. Good evening and welcome to this broadcast. Now, the Political Parties Disputes Resolution Tribunal has suspended the expulsion of 3 parliamentarians from the Orange Democratic Movement ODM party. The MPs, including Gem MP Elisha Odhiambo, Langata MP Felix Odiwuor, and Kisumu Senator Tom Ojenda, were expelled from the Raila-led party on grounds of gross misconduct and disloyalty to the Orange Party. The directives have been issued by the Dispute Tribunal Chairperson Desma Nungo.
Hours after expelled ODM rebels moved to tribunal in Kisumu County seeking to challenge the expulsion, the Raila-led party has received a blow following the decision to suspend the expulsion of MPs Elisha Odhiambo, Felix Odiwuor and Senator Tom Ojenda.
Vyama vinakuwa hafifu vinafifia, basi mseto inakuwa haina nguvu zaidi. Kwa hivyo ni muhimu sana ya kwamba ODM kama nguzo ya Azimio iwe iko na nguvu. ODM must be strong as a political party. Na chama inakuwa strong namna gani? Kwanza wanachama.
In a ruling issued by the Political Parties Dispute Tribunal Chairperson Desma Nungo, the trio have been directed to remain members of the party until an application challenging their ouster is determined. The tribunal also blocked the political outfit from removing the MPs from their parliamentary committee roles and further issued orders stopping the register of political parties from effecting changes pertaining to the expulsion in question. On Wednesday 6th this month, ODM party cracked the whip on 5 members over gross misconduct and disloyalty to the party. The members who were kicked out of the party include Elisha Odhiambo, Karoli Omondi, Gideon Ochanda, Tom Ojenda and Felix Odiwuor.
Chama mpaka iwe chama ambayo wanachama wanaelewana vizuri. Tukitaka kufanya kitu tunasema tunafanya namna hii. Ukitaka kufanya kitu kama mwanachama mpaka ushauri na wale wenzako wengine. Uli kujitoka tu peke yako unasema mimi naenda pande nyingine.
2 days later on Friday 8th, the ousted members filed individual motion to overturn the party's decision and block the expulsion from the party. The party, now caught in the middle, will have to wait until September 20th when the case challenging the expulsion will be mentioned. Joseph Oyomo, KUTV.
Now moving on, Directorate of Criminal Investigations officials led by their director Mohamed Amin today met with the Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki. The meeting discussed how to curb delays in issuing good conduct certificates, including possible deployment of technology to enhance the process. The issuance of the certificates had been halted temporarily to allow for systems improvement for easy access of the government document. The department has taken serious measures to ensure that the underlying situation is addressed. And moving on, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki has put land grabbers in Thika, Kiambu County on notice. Kindiki says that the government will not tolerate theft of parcels of land meant for establishment of public amenities. Speaking during the groundbreaking ceremony for a new 20 million shilling police division headquarters in Thika West, the Interior CS directed the Central Region Security Team to begin reclaiming all grabbed public land.
The government has vowed to reprocess all grabbed public land in order to create enough space for the proposed major government projects. Speaking during the groundbreaking ceremony for 20 million new police division headquarters in Thika West, Kindiki has directed the Central Region Security Team to begin reclaiming of all grabbed public land to facilitate establishment of public utilities.
Ardhi zingine ambazo zimeibiwa katika eneo hii, na mimi nataka kuhakikishia kwamba ardhi zote za umma ambazo zimeibiwa tutazirejesha kwa mikono ya wananchi ili tupate mahali pa kujenga vifaa vya umma. We must reclaim all the grabbed public lands in this area and in other parts of the country.
In an address to Thika residents while on a tour to monitor government development projects, Kithure Kindiki vowed to fight land cartels, who he described as dangerous, and that the government will treat them as terrorists and broad daylight robbers of public utilities. He further warned police officers against engaging in corruption activities while serving citizens.
Yule mkora mwenye kuua watu kwa kuwadunga visu ni sawa na yule mwizi wa shamba ambaye anaiba shamba ambao lingejengwa kituo cha polisi. There is no difference between the criminal who is terrorizing people and the person who is grabbing public land where facilities like police stations and police divisions could be established.
Thika MP Alice Wambui Ng'ang'a, who accompanied Kindiki during the ceremony, asserted that all stolen public property within the constituency will be recovered and the grabbers arrested for delaying construction of public utilities.
Katela hawatapotelea huku mashinani. Wakifika huku tunaambia mambo ni wezi, wajue mambo ni ngapi. Kule walikuwa wanakimbia Ministry of Lands, tumefunga. Kule walikuwa wanakimbia kule kotini, tumefunga. Wewe mwizi! 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 Siko zimei!
In the plan for the construction of a new police headquarters at Ngoigwa, the Interior Ministry and the Thika NGCDF will both contribute 10 million shillings, a move that locals say will beef up security in the area. Masi Wanjiro, KUTV.
And moving on, Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nahumicha has called upon doctors in the country to be part of the solution in addressing challenges affecting the health sector. The CS, who was addressing a peaceful procession of doctors at Afya House, acknowledged that state of healthcare in the country needs improvement. The striking doctors petitioned the government to institute reforms that will better healthcare provision and welfare of caregivers. Julie Ongaki is on that beat.
Doctors in Nairobi County today held a peaceful procession to present their complaints to various offices on issues they want addressed in the health sector. The procession began at Kenyatta National Hospital to the Ministry of Health offices before proceeding to the Council of Governors offices.
For coming to bring your petitions to us. We got the notification yesterday that you will be bringing a petition, which I have received from your Secretary General, Dr. Damji, and I can see that the chair is here. I have the petition with me.
Speaking after receiving a petition from doctors on the status of healthcare in the country, Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakumicha asked for more time to go through the document and later have a meeting with other stakeholders, including the Council of Governors and the National Assembly, to find lasting solutions to issues ailing the sector.
And I want to agree with you that the status of health in this country needs improvement. That is a fact. That the issues that you have raised here are statements of fact. We are on the same page. So what you need to do is to allow us to go through these petitions. And you know that the stakeholders of healthcare is not just the Ministry of Health. We have many other stakeholders that I have to avail this document to. Then we come to a table, sit and discuss and provide a solution.
The CS has also urged the medics to embrace dialogue instead of threats, adding that 90% of the doctors are employed by counties, while the issues raised in the petition will require resources, which she says are allocated by the National Assembly.
This petition to the National Assembly, they read through it, we sit together, and together we find solutions. And we have said October is the month that we want to celebrate HC, and we have put 2 days of discussing HRH, nothing but HRH. So please, be part of the solution, not part of the problem. But thank you very much for giving me this document. Allow us to go through it and agree that then we shall call you when we are ready with the solutions.
In the petitions, the doctors want the government to undertake comprehensive reforms that will improve their working conditions and strengthen the healthcare sector. The medics are also seeking equal opportunities and dignified employment for doctors and healthcare workforce, including better terms for employment. Julie Ongaki, KUTV.
From the capital to Nyamira County, where we find that Nyamira County members of County Assembly or MCAs have threatened to table an impeachment motion against Governor Amos Nyaribo. According to Township Ward MCA Duke Masira, who is also the deputy leader of majority in the Assembly, the members want Governor Nyaribo to resign or face impeachment over a 22 million shilling drug scandal involving the supplies meant for the public hospitals in his county. Dorothy Musioka reports.
28 out of 34 MCAs of Nyamira County have approved an impeachment motion against the county governor Amos Nyaribo over an alleged 22 million shillings drug scandal, a drugs purchase scandal that saw the county's health minister Timothy Ombati sent packing by the governor. The governor had accused the health executive of being involved in the embezzlement of public funds set aside for the purchase of hospital supplies. However, according to Ombati, he was never accorded a fair hearing on grounds warranting his termination, saying that the termination was effected in gross violation of his rights and the principles of natural justice. Nyaribo's decision to sack the health secretary has put him under fire, with the members of the county assembly demanding that the governor should resign, with claims that Ombati's dismissal was irregular. The Deputy Speaker, Thaddeus Nyabaru, who is also the Ekerenyo MCA, and the Deputy Majority Leader, Duke Masira, the Nyamira Township MCA, claimed that the health executive was a victim of witch hunt due to being an outsider in the governor's clan. Nyabaru says, and I quote, Mr. Nyaribo should vacate office to allow for independent investigations to unearth the truth behind the alleged theft of money meant for the purchase of drugs in public hospitals. The MCAs have called on Governor Nyaribo to step aside and invite the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission (EACC) to investigate the alleged fraud, with other leaders accusing the governor of allowing malpractices in his leadership. Dorothy Musioka, KUTV.
Thank you so much, Dorothy. That story takes us to our first short break. You remember that you can find this broadcast on YouTube. I'm seeing there DJ Stillbuzz is watching, and of course Arwa Felix. We take that short break. When we come back, we have more stories and of course that interview that we told you about at the start of the bulletin. Don't go too far.
I don't know why we thought we would be so clever. Now everybody hates me. Not all of them, huh? Why can't I just be smart?
Sure, we will run the hotel. better than they ever did.
I mean, what about their relationship? You do not feel bad about causing their divorce. It's evident Nambi has already been through a hell of a lot.
Of course I am merciless.
Technology, science, innovation, ICT and research. These are the ingredients upon which the solutions to the 21st century problems are founded. In a world that is rapidly changing, it's all hands on deck to ensure a balance in all fields of life. Women, young and old, are also in the front line, breaking the glass ceiling, becoming thought leaders in the larger tech space. Not forgetting other societies marginalized. And when the tech Avengers come together, we inch closer to a much safer, efficient, and sustainable world. What we view as a norm in today's advanced world was just an idea, and for nostalgic reasons, we trace back to the iconic days to bring you the retro tech. On Tech Innovation Show, we encapsulate all the pillars of the fourth industrial revolution, decoded in a language, all for one for all. Every Monday at 8:30 as we push the mantra, keep learning something new each and every day. Only on KUTV, a new experience.
Lola is an app that gives you a chance to watch videos, listen to audios, and read articles wherever you are for free. Motivational stories, dramas, campus life, technology, lifestyle, adventure, sports, academics, jobs, entertainment, and more. Download Lola now on Play Store. All you need, you got Lola.
Fashionistas, get ready to level up your style game. To Fashion Diaries every Monday at 8 p.m. with me, Ashley Asach. From Kia Hills to slit suits, we've got the trends that will make you shine. Don't be left out. Join us for a fashion-filled adventure. Kipindi hewani ni mitindo ya kipwani. Kama ilivyo kipindi hiki kinahusu nyimbo za taarab, chakacha, midwara, midundiko, bila kusahau mapishi. Ambao ndio uti wa mgongo wa pwani ya Afrika Mashariki.
Jamani swaibu zangu mliopo maskani, hatuonani wenzangu, najua mwanitamani.
Hapa KUTV, nahodha mwendesha chombo cha baharini, yani ua linalonukia na kuvutia waridi tamu.
Maelfu na maelfu ya wahamiaji wakiwa na watoto kutoka nchi za Amerika ya Kati wanaendelea kuwasili kwenye mpaka kati ya Marekani na Mexico.
The folks are going. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ni habari free kutoka pembe zote duniani.
Pepo Power si vuguvugu. Pepo Power ni idea.
Sazidi ananyonya, hanyonyi vizuri, anakuwa hayuko comfortable.
Jeshi la Jamhuri ya Kidemokrasia ya Kongo linapambana na waasi wa ADF.
Kwa sasa wanatoa wito kwa mashirika, makampuni na vile vituo vya uchukuzi.
Mambo mengi yatakwenda kama yalivyopangwa.
Hapa ni kuna mmoja wa viongozi wa chama cha wavuvi katika eneo hili.
Zaidi tunajaribu kuwapa chanjo ili ina boost ama inanyanyua kinga ya mwili, ndio inaenda kupelekea kupambana na virusi.
Ni duniani leo, Jumatatu mpaka Ijumaa, moja kwa moja kutoka VOA Swahili, Washington DC.
Focus on Health is a show that creates awareness on matters health and informs you on various diseases, their causes, treatment, prevention, coping, and support. So join me, Boari Michelle, every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. only on KUTV. You can also follow us on our social media platforms at KUTV Focus on Health on Facebook and also on YouTube, and Health Focus on Instagram, because your health is your wealth. Stay safe and stay healthy.
Welcome back. You are still watching KUTV News at 9. We are now going to get into that discussion right away. And I now have got hold of Senator Hezena Lemaletian, who is a nominated senator under the ODM party. I'm still trying to get hold of Senator Irene Mayaka. If she gets to join us, we will surely be sampling her views at the same time. Now, there is something that is going on. There are changes that have been made in the leadership of the Kenya Young Parliamentarians Association. Babu Owino was dropped as the Secretary General, and Irene Mayaka was chosen to be the replacement. We talk about this and many others during the next few minutes or so, and we will be engaging Senator Hezena Lemaletian, as I had said earlier on. I'll be also playing to you something that Babu said, which I believe will be very important to this discussion. But first of all, let me introduce the good Senator. Senator Hezena, if you can hear me right now, good evening, and how are you doing?
Good evening to you, Keith. I'm okay. All is well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Actually, Joseph Case is my producer. You are speaking to Dennis Omondi. Anyway, we...
Oh.
Okay. No, nothing is wrong. I think that is still okay. So, Hezena, before I get into Kenya Young Parliamentarians Association, I want us to start with Hezena, the senator. We've seen the rise of Hezena. And if I'm not wrong, I stand to be corrected on this one. You graduated from the UN in 2015. Within 7 years or 8 years, you are now in Parliament. What you've done is not impossible. You've proven to us that it is possible and it can be done. But what is the secret?
Well, I think the secret basically is consistency, hard work, and putting God first, having a strong faith, and even more self-will, of the willpower. Whatever you conceive in your mind, you can achieve. That's what I tell everybody.
So somebody somewhere is asking, perhaps, where did your leadership start? We see many politicians, young politicians, that is, start from campus and they move and they build on this. Did you have a leadership position somewhere else apart from now the Senate?
Absolutely. I always had prefect roles in school. I had a role in primary school, in high school, and I also had of course I got into pageants, the Miss Tourism and then Miss Commonwealth Kenya, currently reigning. And then I also was among the founding members of the Kenya Ma Students Association when I was in the university, where we brought about all the Ma students together to form a body that would articulate and advocate for the issues affecting the young people and most of the students within the university. So we had Samburu University students, we had Maasai Students Association, we had Rendile Students Association, but we formed a body that was like an umbrella body to bring all these associations together. And I think that's where I made a lot of networks with the youth and the young people. And so, yeah, I can say that's where I started my leadership.
Okay, and you have clearly built it, and right now you are on the map. There is no doubt about that. But enough of Hezena, the person. Now I want Hezena, the leader now. And you have been part of the leadership of the Kenya Young Parliamentarians Association. And just before I get into that, would you just take my viewer tonight through what is KYPA? For someone who doesn't know, who is coming across this for the first time.
So yeah, KYPA is the Kenya Young Parliamentarians Association. It's an association that advocates for the voice and amplifies the voice of the young people within Parliament, and it brings together both houses of the of Parliament of Kenya, the Senate and the National Assembly, and more so young leaders. I cannot categorically say that these are youth like for 35 and below, because there are people who are older, but they're still part of KYPA. So it's basically the voice of a young person in politics, because it's actually ideally supposed to be a safe space for the young people, for the young parliamentarians to articulate themselves and also issues affecting young people and generally our position as young people and young leaders in this country on national matters.
Okay, actually, you've answered. It is like you were reading through my mind. I wanted to ask the age of members, but that's okay because I had seen quite some older members in that grouping. But that aside, and when I look into what is going on, first of all, are you still the secretary, not secretary, but the treasurer to KYPA?
Absolutely, I'm the treasurer, and as you have seen, I'm the duly elected legal treasurer of the Kenya Young Parliamentarians Association, and Honorable Babu Wino is still the duly elected legal secretary general of the Kenya Young Parliamentarians Association. We have the chairperson, who is Honorable Eric Wamwimbi.
Mm-hmm. So I think at this point, you will allow me to play a bite from Babu Owino just before I ask the next question.
Right.
Okay.
The Speaker made a communication on the new officials about the new officials of KYPA, and this has been rendered useless. This is balderdash, nonsensical, gibberish, and it has caused a lot of consternation, discomposure, and discomfiture of spirits. Oh, it has also caused a lot of discombobulation of spirits. And as the Secretary General of KYPA, the other day I did say that I resigned. I wanted to test and see my enemies in KYPA. The people who could start opposing me in KYPA. There is nothing like resignation as the Secretary General of KYPA. I will give a way forward on what should be done in KYPA. The Registrar of Societies did write a letter did communicate to KYPA that whatever was done, the sham elections, is not recognized. It is not legal. Therefore, the coup that was planned by some members in KYPA will not hold. As the Secretary General, I will expel 5 members without trial from KYPA. They will stand expelled from KYPA without trial. I will draft a letter soon. And if you go by the letter that I've given the members of the media, members of the press, look at that letter that has been drafted by the Registrar of Societies, it is very clear that only the Secretary General shall call for elections. It is only the Secretary General that shall write a letter to the Registrar of Societies, duly signed, notifying the Registrar of the changes that are made.
Ezana, am I right to be confused at this point? Going by the statement of Babu Owino and by your statement, what you told me just a few moments ago?
I think my Secretary General has just reiterated what we are the duly elected members of the Kenya Young Parliamentarians Association, and the office stands as it is. Of course, there was an attempted coup by a handful.
Okay, I think I've lost the senator. Okay, carry on.
Sorry, there was sorry.
Okay.
There was an attempted coup, an unsuccessful coup by a few members, only a handful of them. We had the majority, and of course, it did not meet the required standards of a coup, because as our constitution defines, like as far as we are speaking, there's been a court order barring any new officials from taking over, and that they did not follow the due procedure. If they wanted to get the leadership out of office, they did not follow the due procedure, which is convene a meeting, have the minutes, and also make sure they have quorum and a majority. They do not follow any legal procedure, and that's why the court stopped them.
But Senator...
So we are still the duly elected officials.
But Senator, I think my understanding of what a coup is differs from what you are telling me tonight, because I don't understand. I saw Babu in that meeting that happened in Honorable Caleb Amisi's house, and he walked out of this meeting, and alongside the others, they gave a press statement saying he had stepped down. In fact, he said later that he was going to do some other things, that he had been Secretary General for about 5 years and it was time for somebody else to try. How again do you come and say there was a coup? First of all, did you attend the meeting yourself?
I did not attend the meeting because the meeting was convened by some of the participants in the coup. I did not care what side of the coalition they were from, but because as a leader and as a young national leader, the Kenya Young Parliamentarians Association is supposed to bring together all young parliamentarians regardless of what association they come from. And they should be able to articulate issues affecting the young people countrywide, regardless of what side of the coalition they come from, because what we aim at is sanitizing the politics of our country, so that our politics is people-centered, is people-based, and our politics is should be on ensuring that we fight on ideologies and not supremacy battles on who is sitting where, who is what. Those are the grounds why I did not attend that meeting, and I think your ethical journalism mandates you to follow the news as it comes out. You have seen the latest statement by Honorable Babu. I cannot speak for him, but I think he was very clear and articulate. He said that he had said he was stepping down to know his enemies. So I am not his secretary or his personal assistant, nor am I his advocate to speak and say otherwise. If he said that way, that is exactly how it's going to be.
And I think we are.
I can only speak for myself because I did not resign and I did not hand over the office because the due procedure was not followed. Because whether it's a coup or a new fresh election, there are rules and their constitution. There's a constitution that KYPA must follow. And as it stands, all those members who led the coup are being expelled so far. I think you've heard that from our Secretary General.
Okay, I think it is also unfair to accuse us of doing unethical journalism. I mean, this is communication that both of these communications came from the same Babu, but
you're putting the cat before the horse. If you put the cat before the horse, because you should have known that the statement you've just played here is the most recent statement. And I think it's he has summarily said everything that needs to be said as far as his position was during the meeting. And I did not see him in the meeting, by the way.
Okay, so where does this leave, for example, Irene Mayaka, who we were to host this evening? We've not yet gotten hold of her. The Kutv women representative, that is Irene Kasalu, who was apparently to replace you. These are your fellow women leaders. Where does this leave them, and how do you feel about them tonight?
I think they should be able to speak for themselves. Being women leaders, we want to set an example where we are able to air our voices and speak and say our own story.
Okay, fair enough. I think we'll have to end it at that point. There are challenges along the way, I believe. For example, for you, the young leaders. Just the other day, we saw the case of Kirinyaga women representative, that is Honorable Njeri Maina, and what happened to her in Kirinyaga County. And your group even issued a statement and said, we are not going to let this go. We cannot have a situation where leaders are attacked in broad daylight by the outright goons. First of all, how far have you gone in terms of looking into this case? Where is the case right now, if you've been following it?
Sorry, just come up again.
I'm talking about, for example, there are challenges that you face. I believe you'll be able to tell us other challenges. But one of them is, for example, attacks from people who you say should be the ones mentoring you, but are seeing you as rivals. And I just want to cite the case of Kirinyaga women representative, that is Honorable Njeri Maina, who was attacked in her home ground, that is back in Kirinyaga. And at that time, KYPA released or talked about this and said that we are not going to let this go. I'm quoting, we cannot have a situation where leaders are attacked in broad daylight by outright goons. And I just wanted to know if you've been following this story, where is it right now? Have you followed it up as KYPA?
Yeah, it was being followed up by the Kenya Women Parliamentarians Association, which I'm also a member of. But as young parliamentarians, of course, I like I was saying during my campaigns, and I want to reiterate that for a very long time we've had people whom I refer to as gatekeepers during the campaigns. So basically, gatekeepers are people who do not want to the youth or the young people to have a safe space in politics. And of course, we as KYPA, we strongly condemn against any injustices meted against any young parliamentarians across the country, any young person across the country, just because they want to participate in the political process, they are in politics or they are aspiring or whatever.
Okay, I was looking at the people who carried out these acts. Most of them are young people. They are youths. As much as it is being framed as the older politicians versus the younger politicians, could it also be youth versus youth? The young people going against fellow young people?
100%, of course, because you see, the young people are the ones who are very idle and jobless. So when these people, when the older people want to destabilize anything, they bring the young people, because the young people have the energy. And these are the things I call misuse of the young people, because they even the older people, even the ones who are gatekeeping, understand that the youth have an immense potential and possibility, and their most successful tool over the years is to ensure that the young people are divided. That's why you're seeing even wrangles within the Kenya Young Parliamentary Association. It's because definitely there's somebody who is behind this. So when you see the biggest threat to this country and to this continent at large is if young people are united. It's the same thing as if women were united, a lot would be achieved. But if the young people who make up the highest constituency in this country and across the continent, 75% of Kenya's population would unite, a lot can change. We would be able to elect whoever we want. We will be able to put into the highest office whoever we want. But there will always be enemies. There will always be thorns within. There will always be, and it's made successful by a lot of things: unemployment, joblessness, drug abuse.
Okay.
It's made successful by a lot of things, because all these people want things to alternatives to occupy their time.
Okay, Senator, I also want us to talk about the role and how legislation has been in the last 1 year. I understand you guys have been in the August House for some time now. You are almost marking your first year. But just before that, I want to address one thing here. There are members behaving badly, and some are even engaging in criminal acts. And these acts, I believe, must be denounced by the strongest terms possible. Kenyans on Twitter, or X, tonight are having a field day following revelations by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission that there are some youthful legislators who were planning to swindle a Tunisian apparently of 1 billion shillings. Interior CS Matiang'i had warned us ahead of the 2022 general elections that if we don't take care, we might end up with the highest number of very shady people in parliament after that election. And DCI had specifically said that these are youthful lawmakers. That's why I'm asking this question. Are we dealing with servant leaders here, or we are dealing with young, greedy, power-hungry individuals who just want the perfect life as seen in the eyes of fellow young people? These are people who you rub shoulders with in parliament. Do you think they are the torchbearers and they have the future of this country and they are carrying it well?
So basically, my experience has been very different being a young person in this house, because I'll be very honest. When I was joining, before I joined politics, I was like any other Kenyan youth watching, before I joined the August House, I was like any other youth who was watching them on TV and thinking, wow, we have the smartest of the smartest brains in the country. But then getting in there, I realized that what we have is actually a sample representation of Kenya as a whole. And I think we must not blanket condemn all leaders and put them in one basket, because at the end of the day, it all boils to personality. So if the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission thinks they have a case, they should pursue it to the latter. They are my former employee, and I cannot say much about it. Okay. But I trust Ethics and Anti-Corruption to do their job with the utmost integrity as their with utmost ethics and integrity, because at the end of the day, these leaders are also human beings, and human beings make mistakes, but it's up to the electorate. That's why you have elections to separate the maize from the chaff. If that was the maize cob that you chose to bring to the August House, that's fine by you.
Okay.
I mean, there will be another election in 3 years. So it will be your opportunity to choose better.
Fine, Senator. Fine, Senator. I think that warning has been taken. But even as we wind up, I want to get your final comment. And of course, there was this revelation or this organization that said there are some politicians who are very active in the House and some are not very active in the House. I believe you know where they ranked you. Maybe you can talk to them tonight.
Yeah, I was ranked as one of the most, the least active, but who are they anyway? I don't even know them. What I know is that not all of us can be parrots. I'm a person who calculates their words. I am very articulate and slow, but sure. And I'm very steady in what I do. I just don't want to parrot and talk about whatnot. It's been a whole year of learning. I have been speaking probably. I have been speaking, and if they saw the backlash they got from my supporters online, they have my supporters have forwarded to them my contributions in the House. And if me causing drama or appearing in the grapevines and whatnots or the front pages of a magazine is what would make me active, I refuse to be active.
Okay, thank you so much, Senator. I really appreciate you for your time.
Familiarity breeds content.
Okay, Senator, we don't take it for granted. Thank you very much once again. I hope you will grant us another interview some other time to discuss so many things, including your track record in the House. Thank you so much.
Ask me about health.
You're reminding me that. Okay, I'll organize another interview. We'll talk about it definitely next time. Right now, we are having constraints in terms of time.
I want to talk about issues that affect young people, real issues, like the school fees. It's a problem.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Can I book you next time?
Sure, absolutely. Anything for the young people.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll
Well,
discuss.
not anything.
We'll discuss that, and we'll not touch on politics and anything to do with politics. Thank you so much. Good night, Mheshimiwa.
Thank you. Good night.
All right, at that point, we take our short break here. When we come back, more stories to follow. Don't go too far.
Are you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audio-visual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV Studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
Maelfu na maelfu ya wahamiaji wakiwa na watoto kutoka nchi za Amerika ya Kati wanaendelea kuwasili kwenye mpaka kati ya Marekani na Mexico.
But folks, I'm going. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ni habari kutoka pembe zote duniani.
Pepo pasi vuguvugu. Pepo pa ni idea.
Sazidi ananyonya, hanyonyi vizuri, anakuwa hayuko comfortable.
Jeshi la Jamhuri ya Kidemokrasia ya Kongo linapambana na waasi wa ADF.
Kwa sasa wanatoa wito kwa mashirika, makampuni na vile vituo vya uchukuzi.
Mambo mengi yatakwenda kama yalivyopangwa.
Hapa ni kuna mmoja wa viongozi wa chama cha wavuvi katika eneo hili.
Zaidi tunajaribu kuwapa chanjo ili ina boost ama inanyanyua kinga ya mwili, ndio inaenda kupelekea kupambana na virusi.
Ni Duniani Leo, Jumatatu mpaka Ijumaa, moja kwa moja kutoka VOA Swahili, Washington DC.
I don't know why we thought we would be so clever. Now everybody hates me. Not all of them, huh? Why can't I just be smart?
Sure, we will run the hotel better than they ever did.
I mean, what about their relationship? You do not feel bad about causing their divorce. It's evident Nambi has already been through a hell of a lot.
Of course, I am merciless.
Welcome back. You're still watching KUTV News at 9. Now, moving forward or moving on is that part of government's domestic debt held in the form of treasury bills has dropped to less than 11.8% from 15.01% in January, indicating an increased payment of short-term bonds while there are efforts to increase the term of the public debt. This report and others we get from our reporter Edward Nyamu in the Business Wrap.
In last week's sales, the Central Bank of Kenya allocated 38.77 billion of treasury bills and achieved a total payment of 2.13 billion of loans. Additionally, there was a total payment of 4.8 billion following the use of 23.1 billion of domestic debt. Treasury bills amounted to 4.81 trillion towards the end of August. The decrease in volume of unpaid treasury bills is consistent with recent government initiatives to extend the maturity profile of domestic debt by issuing long-dated bonds while reducing the use of treasury bills for budget financing.
We have 2.1 million people who have borrowed from the Hustler Fund. 2.1 million people. And in Nairobi alone, we have lent something like 5.7 billion to very small people in Nairobi alone. Nationally, we've lent about 35 billion in a record 8-9 months, right? So if anybody underestimated the people in the small economy, as you may want to call it, you have to think again.
Central Bank of Kenya statistics shows that outstanding treasury shares declined to 567.7 billion as of September 1st from 671.51 billion at the beginning of the year. This is after reducing treasury bonds for investors. In the meantime, from 82.95% at the start of the year, the share of treasury bonds in the total domestic debt of the government has increased to 86.05%.
We have also re-energized the overnight discount window at the CBK, which the banks were not using before, by removing bureaucratic procedures and lowering the interest rate charged to banks that access this window by 200 basis points. This window will be available to banks to access liquidity to meet their cash ratio requirements in the event they are unable to obtain liquidity in the interbank market.
I'm happy to note that given the interventions the central bank and the government have implemented, the Kenya sharing, the exchange rate is now stabilizing. And the Monetary Policy Committee has also taken measures to address inflation. This, together with measures implemented by the government to support increased agricultural output, have resulted into a decline in inflation to 6.7%, from a high of 9.6%, as the governor mentioned. And we do expect this to be a declining trend on inflation, especially as we continue to see food supply coming back into the market, and even productivity and production increases in our farms, in our smallholder farms.
Meanwhile, City Law Company has come out in demand of more than 73 million from the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority after representing the organization in a dispute between Kenya Petroleum Refineries and Total Energies Company over compensation for yield shift losses. Total Kenya is among oil companies demanding more than 2 billion from the Kenya Oil Refineries Company, with the case being referred to the Energy Regulatory Commission for deliberation. Edward Nyamu, KUTV.
And now it is time for sports news. Kenya Rugby Union has officially named the national 7 squad that will represent the country in the upcoming Africa Olympic qualifiers. Shujaa will be out to hunt a 3rd straight ticket in a row to fly the Kenyan flag at the 2024 Olympic Games in Paris, France, after the 2016 Rio and 2020 Tokyo Olympics. The Kenya Sevens, under the tutelage of Kevin Wambua, will begin its ticket hunt on Saturday, 16th of September, against West African rivals Nigeria, before facing South African powerhouses Namibia and Zambia. And moving on, South Sudan proved to be too good for the national men's football team Harambee Stars after a 1-0 victory over Kenya in a friendly match played at Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani. Tito Okello scored the sole goal for the Bright Stars, earning South Sudan their first ever victory over their Kenyan counterparts in Nairobi. Harambee Stars' defeat comes at the backdrop of their 2-1 victory over Qatar in Doha.
Baada ya makosa ambayo ameweza kufanywa na beki Joseph Okumu. Tizama mashabiki kwa Sudan Kusini wanasherekea kweli kweli goli la mapema kabisa alfajiri ya Mungu.
Okay, thank you so much. That brings us to the end of KUTV News tonight. Thank you so much for choosing to view us or to watch us tonight. On behalf of every member of the team that made this broadcast a success, I want to wish you a good night, and a special thank you goes to Senator Ezena Lemaletian, who has been with us here for our State of the Nation segment. I can see here Douglas Wasilwa is watching. He's saying, I'm tuned in from Ogande Girls High School. That's where we mark the end of KUTV News tonight. My name is Dennis Omondi. Our sign language interpreter has been Sheila Kinyaga. Go ahead and have a good night.